episode of the Panther Chat live on the Pink Panther Twitch channel. Hope you're all well. Thank you so much for all the follows that came through, no doubt from Sharpy's family of followers. So I appreciate you guys jumping on board and checking it out. So the title of the show is called Panther Chat. It's basically a platform where we can talk to other content creators or athletes around the country and just get their insights on various different things. However, I'm not totally fully on board with the name Panther Chat, so happy for suggestions and for it to be called something completely different. If people can think of something better, that would be fantastic. But first guest for the show tonight is Great White Sharpy, Australian content creator based in South Australia. Sharpy, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. How are you? Thanks for having me.
No, going well, thanks. Thank you for coming on. Much appreciated. I know you were in the middle of a stream yourself, so I appreciate you taking the time to jump across for a chat. So
all good, man. No dramas. Happy to be here.
Very good. And the stream went well. Heard you saying off V had a pretty good win.
We had a pretty good win against the Eagles. Yeah, 10 goals down, and definitely started sweating and getting a bit stressed. But no, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah, they're the games you like, the ones that are on the edge of your seat.
Yeah,
I forgot to ask, was that with the content team, the creative team, or was that with?
Yeah, that was. So that's going to be sick. I think Jared Davis was the star of the show. That one, he was unreal. He absolutely dominated. It was so good. So I can't wait for people to see it.
We'll loop back onto that one later because there's a bit to unpack with the creative team. But we'll start from the beginning, from I suppose, the creating content side of things. It'd be good to learn a bit more about you and how you came to where you are today. How long have you been doing the content creating for, and what year did it all begin for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I started properly in like 2019. I started doing Pokemon stuff. So I think you can see in the background there's a fair few Pokemon plushies up there. I literally started just doing Pokemon card openings, and it was fun. But I never really learned how to turn it into anything else and make it sort of entertaining or whatever. So I was literally just opening packs, and I think that's one of the things I'm going to do eventually is go back, and I've still got all those cringy, horrible videos are on YouTube. So I think eventually when I can actually bear witness to it, I'll suck it up and go and have a look at them. They're going to be so bad, but so funny to look at.
Re-release them. Get them back out there.
Oh my God. I'm like, yeah, they're going to, just horrible to think about because I was so nervous in front of a camera before, whereas now I'm sort of, completely comfortable. I guess that's a part of the growth, but
yeah exactly right. Good. And what initially sparked the interest to become a streamer / content creator?
I think I started watching guys like Markiplier online. I think I loved watching him play like Five Nights at Freddy's and stuff. He just made me. I just loved and he was the first person I was like, oh, imagine doing that for like a job. That would be sick. Like that would be amazing to one day just be able to play games and just enjoy yourself and talk to others online. That would be unreal. So yeah, that's kind of where it sort of sparked in my head, and then I think I remember watching guys playing COD as well, and I was really into COD at the time too. So that was where I was like, maybe I'll try and think about trying to maybe turn that into something. But yeah, it never really took off for ages until I started doing TikTok about a year ago, and then I sort of got a lot more confident with it, which was good.
And what initial fears, I suppose, or worries did you have heading into this space for the first time? You mentioned, I suppose, the being on camera piece, which is always the most nervous point for anyone who's looking to start up streaming. Was that the main thing that was the concern?
The main thing was just like not knowing how to handle people that like abuse you or like give you crap. That was the main thing. I was like, I'm sort of really nice and quite reserved in person. So if someone abuses me, I sort of just go, whoa, calm down. But I think now, like especially, you just the best thing to do is just ignore it as best you can and not give them the time of day. Don't even look at it. Don't even worry about it.
Have you had many of the trolls come throughout your journey, or not too many?
I had a few early days, especially on TikTok, that just would like give you random slack for no reason, and then it's that thing where you take it personally the first time, and then you realize that they're nobodies and they're not worth worrying about. And you just either block them or remove them, and you carry on with your day and never think about them ever again.
It's one of those interesting ones because for me, depending on the comment, if it's mild enough and I'm okay with it staying there, I'm always tempted to leave it there because it helps with the algorithm. So they're actually
100%.
helping get more exposure.
100%.
So I was like, come at me as long as it's not a personal attack and too full on. I'm happy to sort of sometimes poke the bear back and engage in some of that just to keep boosting the numbers as sly as that
That's
might
what
be.
I do. So like now I'll just say like, and I try and use like an alpha word too. So like champing is like a big thing.
Yeah, love
so
that.
If you champ somebody, be like, oh, nasty language there, champ. Like just something like that just belittles them, but also says, calm down, buddy. It's not I'm playing a footy game. It's not the end of the world. Calm down.
Yeah. And then it's also nice when your followers pile into your defense and just start ripping them a new one as well. And
it's like, get them, boys.
Yeah, release the hounds.
Yeah.
So at what point did you decide to broaden your reach just from streaming games to pack openings? I'm talking now more about your day-to-day content, like the shots on goal and things like that, because for me, that's where I probably was hoping to go to next, but that's my probably mental hurdle, is getting out my comfort zone to do something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I played footy from the age of like 7 to 25. So I played a long time. And yeah, I was just like, oh, fuck, what else can I do to mix things up a bit? Like, because I started obviously TikTok doing AFL games, but then I'd moved to NBA, FIFA, cricket, bit of golf stuff as well, and done that for a little while. And then I was like, I kind of want to just do some. I think who I saw do some goal kicking. I don't know who it was. I saw somebody, might have been the Marmalade Boys, like early last year when they were just doing the torp stuff, like kicking over buildings. I saw that and I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. But I suck at torps. And then I was just talking to one of my mates. He was like, dude, just go film yourself, get people to comment like suggestions and go do them. I was like, sure, why not? Good idea. So that sort of started from there. Yeah.
Yeah. For those watching as well in chat, feel free to send through questions too. This is fully interactive, so I can pop questions up on the screen and things like that. If you've got questions for either of us, go for your life.
I can see them too,
Yeah. So in terms of your growth, you're currently, I mean, these numbers are probably a day or two old, mind you, but currently sitting at 3.1K on Twitch followers, 2.54 on YouTube subs, 3K Instagram, and 52K TikTok. I think I was watching the night where you cracked the 50 as well. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was wild.
Amazing growth. What do you put that down to? Like, how hard has the grind been to get to where you are, and how have you been able to sort of spread the load across all those different platforms?
Pretty hard grind. I think that was the thing I struggled with the most. Talking earlier about the Pokemon stuff is I always used to give up and then stop doing it for like 6 months. So I think I decided last year around July, August that I wanted to actually just start trying stuff on TikTok with gaming and all that sort of stuff. And then, just daily, every single day since, done a video at the very minimum, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, upwards of 5. And just punching them out and trying to make them entertaining and not boring as well at the same time is the hardest part. There's nothing I can't. When I watch people, I like to hear them talk shit. So if I pop into your stream and you're talking, amazing. If I pop into some random bloke and they're just sitting at the screen not saying a word, I end up screaming at the screen going, dude, say something. It's boring. What are you doing? So that's the thing, is just trying to be consistent for me was the hardest challenge. And once I sort of got into that routine, I'm pretty good now at setting aside, it's probably a couple of hours a day, but of just nutting out 2 or 3 edits as best I can. And that's what makes me feel super accomplished, is when I get maybe 5 done in a day. I'm like, oh, I can have a 2-day break. Yes, that sort of thing. So just the grind is the best part. To watch that growth as well has been good.
Because you always see a lot of, I suppose, Twitch advice, TikToks about to grow on TikTok, specifically to do 2 or 3 a day. And I suppose personally, I've kind of got a lot of footage banked up for gameplay stuff, but I'm like, everyone can do that. Nothing in that gameplay kind of sets it apart. So you're right. You do have to find something that's a bit more entertaining, a bit more personable, to be able to attract new people.
Yeah, it's that thing though. So I find for me, if I'm being over the top and being an idiot, people tend to like it. I'm also not being an idiot in the terms of, I think there'd be a couple of people that I'd annoy, but I feel like the majority of the people that would watch it live at that time would enjoy it. So therefore, I think it's worth cutting it out and re-chucking it out on TikTok and Instagram and that sort of stuff. So, as long as you're having fun, I think people have fun with you.
That's it. It's all about enjoying yourself. So would you say you're full-time content creating, or you
dude, I wish
3/4 or how?
I honestly still work a full-time job, so juggling that is very, very challenging sometimes. I would love to be full-time doing it. I just need to. Sharpies are the best. I think. Does he mean lives? I don't know. But I want to. That's where obviously the ultimate goal would be, is to make a full-time living out of sitting in front of a camera and playing some video games. That would be amazing. And the support from people has been, 99.999% positive, which has been unreal. So I'd say when I get to 100K, then I'd be seriously looking at potentially maybe shifting to part-time. And then obviously past that, going full-time after that would be amazing.
It's such a big call. So I think it was Rages. It was the Rages that they enjoyed.
The Rages. yeah, I do rage pretty hard sometimes.
And you obviously recently launched the very stylish hoodie range, which you're sporting at the moment. Make sure you head to gwssharpy.com to place your order. How did that all come about? And you're pretty happy with how it's all tracking and the colors you've got? I think you love the red one. I saw you do a video on that.
I got red and blue, which I made sure to wear in the Marmalade videos. I had a mate that came into work who did a shirt for somebody else that works at my warehouse. And he brought out this awesome shirt. And I was like, wow, do you make those? And he was like, yeah. And so it's just a local Adelaide bloke that we know through the footy club who, puts them together for me. And it's just, I didn't want to do it through a website that I knew would be overseas or, who knows where sort of thing. So I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I'd better get on board now. And that way, and I sort of frame it to myself as right now, it's probably the time where I'm going to sell the least. Hopefully in the future, I'll sell a few more and we'll see how we go from there.
You're right there, because I had a brief look into stuff like that as well, and 95% of the places are all the offshore websites. So the pricing for the hoodie, it's great, but then you got to add a crazy amount on top for shipping and all kinds of stuff and conversion of currency, and it's just out of control. So I think you've found the right path there.
And the cool thing is because he's so close, I can put in an order with him. Say you would order 5 jumpers, I can put in an order with him tonight. He'd have them ready in 2 days, and then he's got a warehouse that he can ship them out next day, express. You'd have it by Friday. It's just wild. So I was like, that's perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Much better setup.
And I know they're warm. Like, I wear them all the time. I know they're warm and comfy. So I wouldn't sort of sell anything that I didn't like either. So that was the main thing too.
A bit of an on-the-fly question that came through from Den. He's going to Richmond versus Swans game. Who do we think is going to win?
That's a hard one. I'm probably going to back the Tigers. Is it at the SCG? I don't know where it's being played.
No, it's at the MCG. It's down here.
I'll back the Tigers. I don't think Sydney travel that well.
Oh, I'm a Tiger supporter, so I don't always pick them by default, though, it must be said. But if we play like we do against Brisbane, we'll get smashed. But,
I saw your 2017 grand final footy. If you could just throw that out for me, that'd be great.
I didn't even think of that when I posted it. I'm like, oh, that's it, a nerve.
Makes me sad. Anyway,
love a bit of collecting. So in terms of the games that you've been playing in recent times, you've been doing some of the EA PGA Tour, AFL 23 and Cricket 22. I play a couple of those myself. How are you enjoying all of those? Do you have any favourites or favourite modes or any particular game you would rather play over the other?
I always play career mode, so I don't care what game it is, if it's FIFA, NBA, or golf, whatever. Career mode's always something that I just gravitate towards. I've always played career modes, no matter what. I remember playing NBA 2K11 as a kid and just smashing that like non-stop. I loved it.
Yeah.
I like the new EA Road to the Masters, the PGA game. That was unreal. The graphics on that I feel like are a step above the 2K golf games.
Yeah,
I feel like they're still good, but I feel like the EA version was a bit better. So I do play that in my off time at the moment because sometimes it's nice to play a relaxing game rather than a high stressful footy game.
Agree. We should do a round one night. I've got
absolutely
the EA one. I actually really like the player progression on the EA game as well, like with the skill attributes and things like that, and you get to unlock the perks along the way.
It's not too fast as well. I hate leveling up too quick.
Yeah, and that's why I've kind of found in 2K20, like basketball wise, that because of the VC, I suppose as well, it was very easy to just boost yourself to an 84 straight off the bat, and you're in the park.
If you get the game on a deal too, and they chuck in like 125,000 VC, you're a gun player as a rookie. It's like, well, I might as well just play
defeats the purpose. Yeah, exactly. Now we were talking about before we started for the AFL 23. The Sharpy Content Creators FC custom team in AFL 23 has taken off. It's gone gangbusters. The most frequent comment I see on your videos is, can you upload it? And we'll mention it here again. Unfortunately, at the moment, any custom team or any individual player that is a centre-half forward or a centre-half back, if it's in your team or individual, you cannot upload it to share at the moment.
It's your fault. It is your fault.
I know, because I'm sitting half back.
Every time it gets to you, it does this. It does the fullback line. It does the flank. It gets to Pink Panther, and it goes, no way.
Good. Yeah, I know. So it is a known issue, and I'm hoping they get it fixed quickly because it would be cool for people to jump on board and play. But how did the concept and idea come about for the creator team, and how did it go approaching everyone? And I just also want to say a massive thanks for having me involved in that too. It's often when I log on and watch, I either take a good mark or I cost you 3 goals very quickly. So, oh shit.
Dude, you've been absolutely amazing. I made you nice and tall too because I knew I needed a decent centre half back.
Yeah.
I don't really know how I came up. I was kind of driving to a dinner one night, and I was sitting there next to my wife, and I was like, "What do you reckon if I messaged a bunch of footy creators?" Because I watch everybody's stuff anyway. So I was like, "Well, what if I just send them a message?" And I sent one to Marmalade to start, who I didn't know at that stage really well at all. And then I sent one to Prime Train, and both of them said yes within an hour. And they were both like, "Yep, cool, count us in." And I was just like, wow, that's so cool. And they're 2 big accounts to start off with. And then the dream one was Shepmates, because I loved what they do as well. And
they're very good.
Yeah, and to get a reply from Miles Shepherd as well to be like, "Yeah, don't chuck me in. This is my number. This is everything." I was like, wow, sick. And then after that, I could send off a message to people and be like, "Look, this is the people that are included. Would you be keen?" Still in Pain has been a follower for ages. He's a legend. We love him. So, and then it just sort of snowballed from there. So, I started getting the cool thing was I got messages from the Sportsbet Grub boys. A couple of them said, "Hey man, do you want to chuck me into your team?" I was just like,
"Oh, so they placed you?" Okay.
Well, I don't really want to name names because I don't know if it's uncool or cool to dob on people that have "Hey man, can you maybe chuck me in?" It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I had a couple of them say, "Hey, chuck us in. That would be awesome if you could." I was like, "For you guys, absolutely. I love what you do."
That's very cool.
That was when I knew. I was like, "Holy shit, we might have come up with something pretty cool here." But it was pretty tedious making everybody. That's the hardest part, is sitting down and being like, "Oh, okay, get a photo. All right,
yeah,
Prime's got that kind of nose." And I was pretty meticulous with it, and it took a long time. So when people say, "Oh, how long did it take you to make your team?" Expect it to take a while because it's
100%. I'm shit out at making characters. I usually just kind of whip through the basics. I don't put too much thought into it, but doing what you're doing, you kind of have to. And I was going to ask you, which of the players you created did you think was the most likeness to the photo? For me, I reckon Prime you nailed.
Yeah, everyone says Prime. Everyone says immediately, wow, you've absolutely nailed it. I don't want to toot my own horn, but people say to me, "Oh, was he in the game already?" I'm like, wow, that's a massive compliment for me, because I sat there for an hour trying to make him as best I could. Because I was originally going to put up photos one at a time and be like, "Oh, sweet, we've signed Prime," but I had 16 people before I'd even been able to finish making the first character. So I was like, I don't even really need to, because I've just got the list of people that have said yes, which was awesome. So I felt like Prime was pretty good. I feel like Connor Rogers I nailed. I feel like I nailed Cheats from the Grubs as well. Yep. I feel like I got you pretty good. I feel like I got Tommy Flannis pretty good. And Checkers as well. I thought the only thing I wanted with Checkers was you can't do the fringe. He's got to have parted back that way. If I could get a custom fringe, that would be amazing.
Yeah. No, it's an elite side. Love the work. It's make sure if you're not following it already, if you're one of the Panther crew, make sure you jump on board and follow that series. It's hilarious. And the reviews that you post afterwards with the dubbing over, seriously, has me in tears listening to it. It's so good.
They take a while to put together, but I'm hoping that I can get more out very, very soon. I'm looking forward to doing everybody. And that was the other thing too, is I had to send a backup question to be like, what's a bad habit that you have, and what's something that you've done that's funny or silly or a bit naughty or So I've got some funny responses too, so I'm looking forward to pumping them out eventually when I can get through them all.
Now, moving away from the content stuff briefly, you've just very, very recently revived your footy career. Getting recruited by the Div 12 Rezzies themselves, the Lockley Demons, with the Marmalade Boys, Checkers, Shrey and Jim. How did the recruiting come about? How did it all come together? How was the training nights? How was the game day? And how are you recovering? It's been such an enjoyable ride watching this unfold.
The recovery is terrible. So I did the first training last Thursday, and my calf muscles still hurt, and it's Tuesday. That's how unfit. I played cricket through, obviously the cricket season, but it's not the same as playing a game of footy. It's completely different running and like gut running, and it just sucks. So yeah, super sore. The way it came about was I don't want to say I got close to Jim, but we were just sort of chatting online about a bunch of like different like creators and what they were doing and what we could do to sort of like just brainstorming ideas almost. And then we just kept chatting on stuff. And then I don't know what happened. They were on a live and I popped in, and I always, if someone's on a live stream and I see them, I'll chuck in a few roses and just say, hey, legend, hopefully you have a good stream. Like, peace out, have a good one. And I did that a few times with the Marmalade Boys, and they said on stream, oh, we need to catch up, come for a kick or whatever. So that sort of snowballed from there as well. And that was only maybe a month ago they said that. And then, yeah, it sort of got real after talking to Jim about it again. And he was like, we can probably sneak you in because the cutoff is the 30th of June. And so I went out for training on the Thursday. I still wasn't technically with the club. And they were like, oh, yeah, we'll put your stuff through on the Friday morning. We might not play on the weekend. And then they had like 5 people drop out. So they were like, hey, man, do you think you could play on the weekend? We were actually light on numbers. We need you. I was like, oh, my God, sweet. No worries. Where is it? Golden Grove, like an hour and a half from home. Awesome. Can't wait. I'll see you there. So, yeah, it all happened really, really quick. It was bizarre. But it was fun as. I'm so glad I did it.
And they've just taken off in a massive, massive way. I've done a bit of footy coaching in my time. So my first thought was, what's the coach's reaction to all of this sort of fanfare around on game day? Like, does he get amongst it as well, or how does he cope with it?
I think they just kind of let them do their own thing.
Just let them go.
Yeah, like I caught up with the boys I picked up Checkers in the morning. We went there and I kind of almost ghosted him for a day and just followed him around almost. And the coach just like does normal stuff. He doesn't acknowledge it much. Like he'll have a laugh if something funny happens or whatever, but like he just kind of just does his normal thing. And then it's funny at like the quarter time breaks, you'll see Checkers just kind of do that off to the side and go grab a chalky milk and then come back in and be like, all right, boys, let's go. It's just like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah,
it's so good. Like the chalky milk's become iconic. Like you've got AFLW players wanting to do running chalky milk. I think it's Finn doing some chalky milk running as well. It's just crazy.
I had Anne Hatchard out on the weekend as well, and I was kind of like, I know that face. What the hell? That's weird. And like, and he was just stoked about it too. The funny thing was I was standing on the field and there was a group of kids up on like a hill and they were screaming out for Checkers. And the guy that I was standing with was like, that's my son. And he's supporting the other team's ruckman. And I started bursting out laughing. I was like, well, I guess you're not on TikTok, bud. That's your fault. So yeah, it was hilarious. He's like, yeah, that's my kid over there. So
that's so good. Playing again this week?
So birthday for me tomorrow, and then I'm away for the weekend. But I'll be back next week, hopefully. Which will be good.
Oh, very good. Happy birthday for tomorrow.
I'm training Thursday night, so thank you. Yeah, turned 30. Finally made it.
So footy's obviously a massive passion of yours. As a Crow supporter, what have you made of the Crow season so far? How are they tracking?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an upward trend the last 2 years, which has been nice. We're just slowly getting better. Good at home. I'd like to see us win at least one away from home would be nice. We are very Brisbane-esque at the moment where we can dominate teams at home, but we go somewhere else like the MCG normally, bar the Collingwood game and get pantsed. So, yeah, no, very encouraging. Very encouraging.
Big Texas wound back the clock a bit.
Yeah, well, it helps when they hit you right on the chest with a few kicks.
Yeah,
he's had a good season. I think the fact that is he still leading the comp? I think he is.
It's very close at the top. There's about 4 or 5 that are fighting it out, which is...
I should check. Yeah. I think he's a goal or so on top, but that's, what 15, 16 rounds in?
Yeah.
Never would have tipped that he'd be leading this deep into the season. Wow.
The West Coast game obviously helped.
Helps kicking 10. Having nobody on you. Yeah.
Oh, they are shambles. Question through from Min, who's one of my esteemed mods. Thoughts on the Doty rumours to Brisbane?
Oh, don't leave us, Duday, please. Please don't go. We've lost so many players over the last 15 years.
How many players can Brisbane get that are quality? Jesus.
Yeah, I know. They are. Well, I guess they're an attractive team. They've got a nice climate. Good coach. I think that's what helps is having a coach that seems like a genuine, awesome bloke. I'd probably want to play for Chris Fagan too. So I don't know. I'd be devastated if he left. But at the same time, I wouldn't blame him.
Wouldn't blame him. Fair enough.
Who are your... Lever was the one that hurt me the most.
Really?
Because I loved Jake Lever. I loved him. And then he bailed, and Charlie Cameron, they bailed after a grand final loss. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. There was a reason we came out the year after and was poo.
Yeah, that kind of makes it worse, doesn't it, when they leave after the events of 2017. So
and I watched interviews. Yeah, and I watched interviews with him after, and he said how much he loved the place and wanted to win a flag with us, and it would have been so good. But at the same time, what can you do? You got to beat who's in front of you, and you guys were too good. So, very lucky. Like, you were the best team all year, 100%, and we just come good at the right time. Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be the two teams in the granny?
I'm not saying Port. I refuse.
Oh, I was going to ask. Was it 11, 12 in a row? They're flying. That must be hurting you.
12. Look, I put it on a little bit. Like, I don't hate them as much as I say, but it's not what I want to see. I don't want to see them in a grand final. I'm happy for them to win 22 games in a season and then lose in a prelim. That's fine. Have 100,000 members, whatever. I don't care. Just lose a prelim like you normally do. That's fine. I think, and the other thing is too, Brisbane, I don't back them in at finals. They choke as well.
They're mentally a little soft.
Yeah, and Melbourne are not that good. Like, they think that after the grand final season, they were going to get better. They came out and won 11 in a row. Since then, they've been a 50-50 team at best almost.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to probably be a Port Collingwood grand final, which sucks.
They're both the almost unbackable favourites now, aren't they? They're both flying.
Yeah.
Can they sustain it is the question.
That's the thing. Have you peaked too early? That's the thing. Like, I don't know. You see with teams like St Kilda in 2009, they win 19 in a row, and then they lose to the Bombers and then the Cats in the grand final. Like, you got to time it perfectly, and some teams don't. I don't know. I don't have a glass ball, but I think the Pies at the G in a grand final will be very hard to beat.
Very tough to beat. Yeah, I tend to agree, but I'm kind of just waiting for them to start falling off the cliff. But it's yet to happen, unfortunately.
I know, it's concerning.
Now, you mentioned Pokemon at the start being your, I suppose, grassroots for getting stuck into it all. Yeah. How deep into the Pokemon are you? I think I read somewhere in one of your bios you got a Charizard tat.
Yeah, I do. I've got a big one on my shoulder. It's a bit hard to show now, but yeah, I've got a full sleeve of nerdy Pokemon tattoos.
Nice.
The big Charizard boy is the main piece up there. Yeah, pretty deep into it. Loved it as a kid. Taught me a lot of things about like the elements and stuff, probably before most kids learned about them. And then, just never grew out of it. I remember my mum saying when I was a kid, "Oh, you'll grow out of that stuff." I turn 30 tomorrow. I'm still deep in it. Sorry.
But they kept bringing things out to draw us back in. So I remember when Pokemon Go on the mobile game come out, maybe that was 8 to 10 years ago now, potentially. But prior to that, I had sort of put Pokemon to the back of the mind for quite some time. That come out. We were at bloody footy ovals at midnight, walking laps, trying to hatch eggs, driving 2.5 hours away to try and catch Kangaskhan.
Dude, there's a chop up the road. Someone put it on Facebook. Yeah. Let's go. It's like, sweet. Can we get Macca's on the way? Let's go.
Massive groups of people everywhere. It was crazy how many people were jumping on board.
It was like the biggest fad that I've seen. It went so big so quick and then dropped off a cliff 6 months later. It was wild. And you just see 8 people standing in a car park with their phones like this. They're playing Pokemon.
Yeah, they're a Pokestop.
You see them now. There's still people that do that. You see a couple walking around just woo, flicking their fingers. It's like, they're catching Pokemon. Though. Must be a
friends of mine at their previous workplace at the time. Pokemon Go was huge. They had a work party on a cruise in the Docklands, and they were hatching. They were getting Magikarps and evolving them or hatching eggs and just sitting there. 10 of them around just.
It's one of those things that if you haven't started it up for a while, I'll probably play it once a year, and I'll get hooked for 2 or 3 weeks, and get really hooked for 2 or 3 weeks, and then just get okay, that's enough for a while. Play something else.
I've tried to get my kids into it because, from a very selfish perspective, because I want to rewatch it again, but I don't want to just sit there on the couch by myself watching Pokemon. I got them to about 4 or 5 episodes in of season 1 while we're away in Queensland. They loved it, but then they keep going back to. They're all into dinosaurs, and now they're into Iron Man and shit like that. But I'm just waiting for the day for the penny to drop so I can rewatch it all again.
Yeah, I think it's that thing though too. I feel like if you were watching it on the couch and they kind of like stumbled out of bed, kind of tired, and just sat on your lap, I feel like they would just be like glued.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to get them at the right time.
100%. I reckon the last few times I've tried, they were interested in other stuff. So they were thinking about whatever else they were wanting to watch. But
yeah, I've had that with my nephew where like he's come out of bed, like he shouldn't be out of bed, but he's like wants to come sit on my lap and chill out. So it's like, well, I'll put something on that I want to watch too, because I don't want to watch Bluey or like, the Wiggles again. So I'll put on like Pokemon and like I'll put on like a battle that I know is going to be like good to watch, and he'll just sit there like, "Whoa, this is cool." That's how I just got to try and get him sucked in, because then you'll be laughing, and then you can binge it yourself as well.
Exactly right. I will do a quick question here before we go back to Pokemon. Dan wants to know, playing AFL 23 right now, Sharpy, is it all right if I put you in my team?
Dude, go for it. Just give him a big fat blue mullet and a pink beard, and you're good to go.
So I assume you were collecting the cards as well with the Pokemon craze. I actually went, I knew I had these laying around. I don't have very many, but I did find some of my old school ones.
Nice. Nice Jungle Vaporeon. I like it.
Yeah. Had the
original Gyarados. Hello.
And the one that is unfortunately worth shit all, but I'm still glad I've got it. Got the Charizard.
Nice. Is it all scratched up?
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things that as a kid, when you're collecting stuff, you don't actually foresee in the future that you should keep shit in good condition.
That's my number one thing, is I wish that I could go back and tell my younger self to look after them how I do now. So I found these at Kmart, right? And these are just simple photo frames. They're magnetized, but I stick them in that, and they're thick as, so even if they fall, they don't break. The cards are like, they're not going anywhere. Yeah, but that's probably, these two are probably my best Charizards. So they're probably, the one here is probably $400 to $500, and the big boy over here is probably $1,000+.
And did you pack both of those, or did you buy those cards individually from
someone? I packed this bad boy twice, and I've got them both on my YouTube channel. How I was saying before about doing them, I pulled them both on YouTube, which was nuts. So
wow.
I will react to them eventually, but it stresses me out.
That's so good, packing one like that.
And I've got so many of these. I've actually got these in my display down the bottom. They're all sort of stacked on top of each other, and lots of they should be in a briefcase somewhere.
Now, I suppose the other most famous Charizard, I'm only saying this because I can see the Prime bottles in the background, but Logan Paul buying, what did he spend? 200, well, was it 2 million or something ridiculous on a...
Insane money on the original first edition sets. Yeah. Insane. And he got scammed.
I saw that. That was savage. Jesus.
That was savage. I'd see. Well, hey, if you got the money, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got one of two in the world, maybe. I think. I don't know if it's the Beckett 10, but yeah, must be nice.
Oh, if you've got the money, then splash it around.
Oh, absolutely, I would.
Another question come through. Their thoughts on the dogs, the Bulldogs.
I don't know if they're going to play finals this year. I feel like they've got worse from last year, unfortunately.
They've got a pretty deep midfield. I've always thought they've got one of the deepest lists in terms of talent across the park, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't come together all the time.
Yeah, they're patchy. Like, you look at the grand final they lost, they were dominating, absolutely dominating the Ds, and then they fell asleep off a cliff and just got run over. I feel like they still do that now, and they haven't, they've lost Dunkley as well, which hurts. So I don't know. I just don't feel like they're as good as they were last year.
And even if you go back to the finals, and even the grand final they won, fell off the cliff the year later. Like they didn't really back it up or do anything substantial after that. But from a talent perspective, Norton up forward is an animal.
Bruce down back now too, which is weird.
He must have done that himself to save his own career, I reckon.
He must have, because they're going, well, Norton's a gun now. We don't really need you up forward. He's going, well.
And Hugo Hagen as well, playing up forward too.
Yeah. I love watching him. That mark he took on the weekend against the Dockers was unreal. That photo. He can jump, and he's a good player. I rate him.
Dylan wants to know thoughts on a possible showdown in the finals. Cheers, wouldn't that create some waves?
I'd back the Crows to beat the Power any day of the week. No, that would be unreal. A super showdown would be very nice to see. But also, I don't think my heart could handle it. I think it would put me into a state of anxiety that I've never reached before. The last one was in 2005, but the Crows won, but I was young enough that it wouldn't have bothered me. Right now, it would severely do some damage to me. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
What would the lead up to that be like in Adelaide? So I went to Adelaide for the 2014 elimination final against Port, and it was just a buzzing atmosphere. We obviously got smashed, but walking over to the ground, it was disgusting. And the worst part was we had to drive home. It wasn't even a flight home, so the game was over in 5 minutes.
Dude, I did that for the 2017 grand final. I drove over to Melbourne to try and get tickets, and I was walking around the stadium. I was a gold member with the Crows, didn't get tickets, and there's like 95-year-old women holding up a sign like, "Please, I'm about to die, give me a ticket." And I was just like, I'm not going to get a ticket. What are the chances I'm going to get one? So I went to a pub. We got smashed in the last half. I drove home, and the only thing I remember of that drive home, besides being more depressed than I could ever remember in my life, is there was a bridge that I think it must have been a Victorian supporter, let's say, had just said, "Ta-ta, Crows, bye-bye, suck in." And I was like, oh, that cuts deep.
Jesus. They're long drives home, aren't they, after those types of games?
After you lose a grand final or a final, not fun.
Yeah, it sucks.
No.
Muzzle wants to know, who do you think will get Mark of the Year?
Ooh, I'm trying to think of the ones that have been the best so far. I can tell you the goal of the year. It'll be Ashcroft, but Mark of the Year.
What about Elliott's goal from the weekend?
Elliott's was unreal. Reminded me a lot of the Jack Higgins one.
Yeah.
From, 2018. Like, just the wits to stop it and then, like, run around the post and poke it back. Just stupid good. Mark of the Year. One of the Crows boys took an absolute ripper against the Giants in round 2. I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking on a lot of the marks at the moment. I can tell you the goals, but I'm blanking.
Yeah, I'm the same. I haven't thought much about the marks. But yeah, the goals, I reckon it's going to be out of Ashcroft.
Ashcroft was good. Sarong kicked a ripper. There's been a few good ones with the goals, but yeah, I really can't think of any marks at the moment. We might have to come back to it.
We'll have a look at some after and come back to that one at another time. The Demons, do you like the Ds?
I do like them. They've just been, since the middle of last year, they're just a little bit inconsistent. I don't know. What do they need to fix it? That's the only thing. I'm trying to think. Their midfield's still stacked. I mean, everyone's signed till 2050.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They got a good forward line. They got a good back line. So I don't know. I feel like they should still be in the Pies position at the moment. They're just, I don't know. They're not clicking as much as they should be.
Yeah. For me, Bailey Fritsch, I think, is one of the most underrated forwards outside of like Melbourne supporters' eyes. I reckon he does a crazy good job.
But he just hurt himself on the weekend, didn't he?
Did he? Oh, that's not good then. Because Ben Brown, he hasn't done much, Benny Brown, since going across. But
I still like McDonald too. I rate him, and they're small forwards as well. They're stacked across the board, but they're just not clicking on all cylinders at the moment. When they do, though, it's scary.
They're good, yeah. I'll do this one quickly, then we'll jump back into some other questions. This one might be on the more painful side for you. Opinion on Houston's goal against Essendon?
Jordan Wilson's was better. No, it was an absolute unbelievable goal to go back in the wet with a wet, soggy footy and kick it 55. Hard to think of, honestly, a better recent goal after the siren. That is top-notch, unbelievable, ridiculous goal. The way he struck it too, and he stayed on his line, and it was just 10 out of 10.
There were so many things that could have gone wrong with that, like the heavy ball, slippery ball, arcing around. When he went back and turned his back on the play, I thought there's no way he's going to make the distance.
No,
with a
on
ball
a dry
like
day, I was like, easy. But
that was an incredible kick, and the goal umpire got absolutely poleaxed between about 15
dude,
plays.
He's a national hero right now. He's a national hero. Everyone loves him. He deserves a pay rise.
And he still made the correct call too. He still called goal on the field. He got it right.
He got an ass to the head, and he still was managed to see. It was unbelievable. Give that man a pay rise.
That
unreal
was
unreal
dedication to his job there.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the questions I did have, and Carlton has raised this, loving the wrestling belts. Wrestling been a big part of your life?
Yeah, one of those things. Yeah, I got sucked in when I was a young kid, and I just can't. I probably had a break for like 5-6 years. I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago before I got back into it. Big Ron Van Dam fan when I was a kid. Loved CM Punk when he was champ back about 10 years ago. And yeah, I just like all the guys now that are just funny, good talkers. MJF at the moment is probably one of my boys too. I just love what he does. He's just in character. He's just a massive douchebag the whole time. It's brilliant. He's so good.
I was into wrestling with the whole Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, all that kind of stuff. But once they finished up, it kind of felt like it went really PG. There wasn't as much action. The Hardy Boys ended up coming back to do some crazy random shit because that was their forte. But I just felt like there wasn't enough, I suppose, dangerous moves happening. And that's not a good thing because you don't want people to get hurt. But it kind of lost its entertainment value, didn't it, at some point?
Yeah, it did. It got soft. Like even to the point where like someone would get cut legitimately accidentally. They'd have a cut on their head. They'd have a little bit of blood. And then the ref would be putting their gloves on. Stop. Everyone stop. Let me just patch him up real quick. Fight. It's like it makes no sense. If it's an actual fight, you go in and you're trying to. It's just that takes it out of the situation. It makes it really obvious that it's scripted and rubbish. So let it go.
And love him or hate him. And I know Logan Paul divides a lot of people, but I found that his recent inclusion and the dynamic he's bringing, like the moves of Ricochet as well, that was just batshit crazy.
I love him. He's great.
I reckon that's sparking a lot of interest. Like I don't think anyone cares if he wins, loses, or whatever, but the fact that they're doing crazy moves and getting the crowd off their feet is a good thing.
I think people naturally just don't like him because he's got that swagger. Like he's just got like a natural, I don't know, air about him that people sort of go, "Oh, Logan Paul, yuck." I love him. I think he's great. And yeah, the spot at the Royal Rumble with Ricochet where they literally jumped the whole ring and smacked into each other. One of the most unreal things. And for them both to be good enough to time that, let alone hit each other and land safely, was insane. The best part for me is watching on the replays, watching all the wrestlers around the ring, knowing that spot's coming and looking up and watching it as they both do it. I think that's a big tick of approval of how good he actually is.
Yeah, definitely. And you could practice that 100 times. You might not get it right until about the 80th, 90th time. And like you said, there's the risk of not pulling it off correctly that was quite phenomenal.
Well, that's like I watched an interview with Seth Rollins talk about a spot he did with Randy Orton where at WrestleMania he jumped off the back of his neck. Randy caught him in an RKO. They tried that like 10 times throughout the day, couldn't do it. And then Randy was like, "Nah, let's not do it." And then as they went out, he was like, "Fuck it, let's give it a go. Who knows? Like, just try it." And it went perfect. It's like that. It could just anytime it could go wrong, anytime it could go right, and that's why I like it too. People go, "Oh, it's scripted. Who cares?" It's like, well, so's movies. You still go watch a movie. What's the difference? It's just live action.
If you can have an understanding and acceptance of what you're actually watching and why they're doing it, it's highly enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Brados wants to know: is there a sport that we highly dislike?
Oh,
it's a good question.
Not
I'm
really.
pretty open to watch most sports. I mean, there's probably sports I wouldn't watch if there was something else on. Like I wouldn't watch golf or anything like that. Although I like playing it in a video game sense. I dislike it though. But
I'll put on pretty much any sport if there's nothing else on. So like, if I really thought hard about it, I could probably work my way backwards. So if I'm like, well, if the footy or NRL's on, I'm probably going to pick the footy. The cricket or NRL's on, I'm probably going to pick cricket. So it's like, okay, well, maybe NRL's down a little bit. But then it's like, well, if the swimming's on, I'm going to pick the NRL. Or like, it's just, but I would watch anything. I mean, the Olympics last year or a year and a half ago, whenever it was, I had like 6 screens up at the same time. We're in lockdown here in Adelaide, and I literally had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screens, and I was in heaven. So not really. No, I tend to like most sports.
Braden, that's not a bad call. Cycling.
Actually, cycling.
Yeah, that's not
actually a good call.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's
a great call because they're all on the juice anyway. Yeah. Cool.
Lucas wants to know, does Sharpy like local footy?
Yeah, dude. I love the Sandful. I mean, I grew up watching that like crazy when I was a kid. I'm a Central District supporter. So from 99 to 2010, they were in 11 grand finals in a row. So I was born in 93, so I was like 6 when I went to the first one, and it was just like, all right, what are we doing for the grand final this year? Because we're going to be there, so what are we doing? It just sort of became a habit. It was weird in like 2012 where I was like, oh, no Sandford grand final this year. That's weird. So yeah, love it. Yeah, loved it. Grew up on it. Still tend to watch it when I can when it's on 7 here in Adelaide. And yeah, it's good.
All right, a couple more and we'll wrap up. What's next for you in the content space? Do you have any plans, any projects you're working on that you can share? What's coming up in your world?
Probably a bit more with the Marmalade Boys at the moment. I do want to try and do some more in-person stuff with other creators as well. Like I'd love to do a Melbourne trip and bang out something with everybody and, do a big catch-up. That would be cool. But like I said before, going out of my way and asking people to catch up is a bit of a weird situation for me still. So, because I don't see myself as like a big creator or anything. Like that was one of the more eye-opening things at the being with the Marmalade Boys is just like seeing people be nervous around us, which was strange. Like, because we're just like normal people that like go and have a kick on the weekend. We're no different from anybody else, except we record it and put it on TikTok. There's literally... we're not better than anybody. It's just that's where I find it strange. Where it's like I still am like the nervous kid shaking my phone, going, "Can I have a photo? Is that okay?"
Yeah.
So that's what
I think I saw someone reply to one of your photos on Instagram saying that they felt nervous to come up and speak to you, and they were like annoyed at themselves for not getting a photo. Like when you see things like that, how weird is that for you to read? Sort of based on what you just said, like we're just
so strange. I went to the South Adelaide game to watch one of my friends' kids play, and like for people to come up and be like, "You Sharpy, can I get a photo?" I was like, "That's so strange," because I'm just here playing games at home on my computer, like, and for people to enjoy it that much that they would want to come up and have a photo is just mind blowing. It's going to take a while to get used to, but I love it. And and anytime anyone asks for a photo, like I'm always open to it. Absolutely, I'm the same as them. I'm no different. So
that's the beauty of that's the beauty of doing. I don't say what we do because I'm nowhere near the level you are, but forming bonds and relationships, communities, and everyone's got the same kind of common interest at the end of the day. So it is kind of cool to share those stories with people when you do meet them in person.
Absolutely, dude. And it's that thing. You never know who you might meet along the way, and we're all in it together. So let's just have fun with it. Who cares?
Yeah, absolutely. If you do come to Melbourne, I'm keen for
absolutely
having some shots at goal. So
absolutely.
Any chance to get out of the house?
Yeah, dude, same.
One from Dylan. The opinion on the Johnny Bairstow wicket.
Sucked in, Johnny.
Yeah, that's out every day of the week. I've done wicket keeping in my time, and I've held the ball far longer and thrown it far later as a bit of a dick move, really. But that was an instantaneous throw. That's out every day of the week. That's a brain fade.
The thing that annoys me the most about it is they sook. Like, it's like we've committed the worst crime in the history of the world. When Bairstow did it 2 days earlier, he was just too crap to hit the stumps.
Yeah.
Well, don't whinge. Stuart Broad was edging it and get caught at slips, and he doesn't walk. That is less in the spirit of the game than what Alex Carey did. That's fair game. If you don't walk back, tap your crease, and go, "Umpy, we're sweet, cool. All right, I'm gonna go have a chat." He literally ducked and was like, "All right, let's go have a walk."
It was on the move straight away. There was no
pause off and then sooking about it that you got caught. You got caught with your hand in the cookie jar, sucked in.
Yeah, I thought that was very, very funny. Josh or LJ from the Panther crew wants to know if you can have your Charizard or your Squirtle. He's trying to steal your plush toys. Jeez, come on, Josh.
You can have the Squirtle. You'll never touch my Charmander.
What about on the cricket topic still? The Stark non-catch. What was your take on that?
Oh, that's rubbish as well. Dude, he caught that. He had his mitt all the way around it. What he should have done, it's kind of his own fault. He should have tried to somehow cradle it. He could have just put his hand down like that and slid along the ground. It's a catch, but I'm not that mad that they overturned it. I think that if you're not smart enough to try and caress the ball and stop it from touching the ground, then it's grey area. So fair enough.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely caught, but he could have changed a few things after he landed. Glenn McGrath teed off, I think, didn't he, on TV? He wasn't happy.
He had a catch like back in the day that was unreal. That you could argue that might have been overturned if we had the technology we do now. So I don't know. I think bit stiff, but at the same time, kind of understandable too. I think he could have done better.
Well, at least we got the Bairstow one. We'll take that one. Eye for an eye.
It's sucked in. And the best thing has been just going through TikTok and seeing all these English podcasts, and they're all just having a fat cry, and I just can't help myself. I have to go in and leave a comment and be like, "Well, sucked in."
Yeah, get stuck into it, folks. If anyone sees any English people posting stuff like that, just get stuck into them. Give it to them.
Yeah. I saw the Grubs, the Sportsbet boys, cheats put up a story or a video of some salty English bloke calling us like cheating bastards, and they were just laughing. And that's the thing that you just have to do is laugh at them, because it makes it even more angry. They just hate it.
That would be the perfect, because they're over that. That's the perfect spot for them. Just they'll be cashing in on that. They'll be having an absolute field day.
Absolutely, I can't wait to see the stuff they post too. It's going to be great.
All right, well, I'll finish off with a 60-second rapid fire answer. So just the first things that come to your mind. They're not too difficult. I'll wait for it to get so I can time it on my screen. I'll wait for another 10 seconds. But all right, first question, 60 seconds of quick fire questions. Tomato sauce in the fridge or cupboard?
Absolutely the cupboard.
Nintendo or PlayStation?
Oh man, I love both. PlayStation.
What's your least favorite beverage?
A fruity lager. I hate it.
What's your favorite?
Cider.
Your favorite pizza topping?
Meat lovers.
Side question: is pineapple allowed on pizza?
Yeah, absolutely. You can put whatever you want on. Yeah,
I agree. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, that's a good one. I like a lot. My Heart Will Always Go On by Celine Dion.
Do you have your own Netflix account, or do you use someone else's?
I actually have to now. I have my own because they brought in the new thing. So I had to suck it up and buy it.
Now, if you're at a swimming pool, do you cannonball straight in, or do you dip the toe in first?
If you dip the toe in, I'm spear tackling you, and we're going in together. You jump straight in.
One in, all in.
Yep.
If you're watching a TV series, is it one episode at a time or binge?
Binge.
Chocolate live in the fridge or cupboard?
Again, cupboard. No.
And finally, what is your favorite board game?
Monopoly.
Yep. Or the full version or one of the other variations?
Full version. If we're playing a board game, we're committing. Suck it up. I don't care if it goes till 3 a.m. And if you want to bail, I will not let you bail. You stay on. You committed.
They can be some lengthy stints, can't they?
They'll break up a family. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm so competitive too. It's dangerous. I get sooky. Everyone does. It's Monopoly. It's not meant 100%. To be fun. You're meant to win.
I think there's a video, I'm sure it was on TikTok, going around of a family, a young kid just like flipped the board and just stormed off. He'd had enough. And I think that's a very accurate representation of most families who have ever tried to play that game together.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to ask you 2 questions back. Yep. Tomato sauce, where do you put it?
See, I put it in the cupboard. Okay. And thankfully my wife does as well. But I was at my parents' house tonight for dinner, and they've got it in the fridge. So it's just really conflicting. And chocolate as well. I'll typically put chocolate in the cupboard. If it's a really hot day, though, and I know I'm not going to get to it till later, I might do a sneaky 5 or 10 minute in the fridge.
It's different. Melt. It's different if it's kind of melted. But if it's the middle of winter and you're a psycho putting it in the fridge, you're just asking for your teeth to snap
100%
into that rock hard piece of chocolate.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable at all. Like you almost
the thing is with Australian chocolate, it's already got the stuff that stops it from melting anyway. So leave it in your cupboard. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, folks. You can no fridge stuff here. Last question from Samuel. G'day, mate. Thinking of getting a PC to play AFL 23. Is it running smoothly on PC?
For you, boss.
Well, it's running. I think it's running fine on all platforms, but they're not all at the same level patch wise. So I've got a mid-range PC and it's running perfectly fine. I think it would run okay on the next level down as well. But I would personally maybe wait another couple of weeks before getting the game, because I reckon there's a few more things to come to make it a bit more complete from a management mode. Online as well has got to catch up and start to become good. There's a few things that have got to get done.
I'm going to stay right there. I'm going to go grab my list because I want to just chat to you real quick about a couple of things. And I want to get your opinion. Let me grab my list.
Yeah. No, go for it. All right, so we've got Cody in the chat here. Chocolate in the fridge from Cody. Oh, that's controversial, Cody. What can I ask why? Brados chocolate in the cupboard. Most of it don't mind it now again in the fridge. It's definitely one of those ones that can divide people, the old chocolate.
Okay.
Always fridge.
So you said before about things about coming up with new content ideas, and I was literally brainstorming things to fix. How do you go with center bounces?
There was a while where I was really shit, and there was actually one particular game playing Richmond versus Port Adelaide, and I was getting annihilated. And I understand that Nankervis is smaller than most ruckman, but this was getting way beyond a joke. And it actually turns out that there was a specific bug that was relating to Richmond versus Port Adelaide games that they had to iron out. But yeah, which is quite bizarre. But I go okay now. I probably lose more than I win, but just using the right analog stick. So I just wait till the control vibrates.
Yeah,
really.
I win 1 out of 100. I don't know if it's because I'm using a created player with checkers. I've made him 202 centimeters and like a gun. I never win contests.
That should, yeah. See, that's. I mean, I've seen someone say they lose quite a lot with Sam Draper as well, who would be of a similar height. That shouldn't happen. And you're hitting the analog stick when it's vibrating.
I swear I am. I'm normally pretty good at timing this stuff. I swear.
What about around the ground? Do you win the around the ground ones? Is it just in the bounce? Yeah. So sometimes I'll go through. Yeah, I'll go through phases where I'll lose quite a few consecutive center bounces, but win a lot around the ground. I don't know if it's a coding thing or not though. But it's annoying because there was a period of time where you couldn't actually tackle the other team's midfielders, so they would tap it down, handball, inside 50. And you're like,
that's what happened tonight against the Eagles. Like I literally had like 9 goals in a row happen in. It was 7-8 minutes of gameplay. It was insanely quick, and I couldn't stop it. It was only when I somehow managed to like get a center player to intercept one of their hand passes, and it happened like 3 times in a row that it actually changed the momentum for me. It was crazy. How do you go with marking? Because I get a lot of comments about marking.
I'm probably 50-50. It depends on the player, like the actual player you're using as well. I find if you time it well enough, again, when it vibrates, you sort of mark more than you don't. But I reckon now the games on Steam anyway, PlayStation might be different because they're a little bit on a different patch. But I felt the game's been the most balanced marking versus spoiling that it's been for a while. Because there has been times where marking was way overpowered and you just couldn't get near it.
Yeah, I feel like I get really, really good luck, I think, in the back line. I tend to mark everything.
Yeah.
And then when I go to the forward line, I don't mark anything at all. It's weird.
Some of the animations still don't make sense, though. Like even watching, it probably stands out more on your streams because of the camera angle you use. But you'll quite often have shorter players jostling against bigger players, even behind them, and you'll take the mark. And it's like,
the ball goes through their head.
Yeah. And it's like, good. You would rather you take the mark than not. But it's like, how does it come to that decision to let you outmark someone when they've clearly got the height advantage?
My 2 best markers in the 3. Your one, obviously, because you're so tall. But Will Taylor is tiny and never loses, and Shrey is the other one who's like medium size. I had Shrey against Lance Franklin tonight, and he didn't lose a marking contest. And it's just I don't know how. I just seem to time it so well in the back lines. But then if I chuck someone up forward, like Sharpy's like 6'6" and can't. I haven't taken a decent contested mark with him for ages. Does my head in, but that could just be me. I don't know.
No,
but I'm also like you said, I'm a fair way behind on the patches, so that. Could be...
even then, it still seems a bit unbalanced, doesn't it? Like in terms of probability, it should probably be a bit more relevant to the player's actual height.
Yeah, I don't know how much the stats come into it or their attributes or whatever you want to call them. But how do you go? I don't. So the reason I'm picking your brain is because you are a bit further ahead with the patches. I still struggle when I'm trying to run with a player. So if I if I either mark the ball and stop, or for some reason I've stopped and then I press accelerate, they literally crawl for like 3 seconds and then I get caught on the ball.
Get tackled. Yeah. A few people flagged that. I think they called it like being stuck in the mud. The same thing kind of happens on handball receives as well. Yeah. I haven't noticed it as much, but it still does happen. Like I said, you hit the trigger to go, but the reaction time of the player versus what you've done, it doesn't add up.
Understandable if like it's like you're ruckman and you're slow.
Yeah, that's right. But if it's your midfielder, like I saw you take off with I think Miles, and got caught straight away because
he's lightning.
And didn't because he didn't react how you had said.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely a known issue because it was one
Mm,
thing that they asked me specifically about feedback on mud, like sticking in the mud. So they're looking at it to try and work out if it's specific animations that maybe trigger that happening
okay.
to try and iron it out. Because yeah, it's just shit when you take a mark, you think you can run away, and you are in space, and then you're standing still and you get pinged.
That's the worst. And then you get like a defender from the other team glitch and just
Yeah,
and they clip straight to you and they catch you on the ball. I'm like, oh my god, man,
yeah,
come on! I'm trying
the
to.
old
I'm 4
teleporting
goals down.
tackle.
Yeah, help me out here. One of the other ones is I don't know. I see that you're doing your own custom team. Have you played a grand final with them yet?
I've only played round one. Only played
There you go.
the one
So
game.
the thing that bugs me is I did a custom season with the Crows, won the grand final, and I had the trophy presentation.
Yep.
That's disappeared now. So I then did a follow-up season like 2 or 3 days later, right? I think I won it with maybe the Bombers, with just Sharpy on the team.
Yep.
And the celebrations went off like we'd won.
Yeah.
And then it went straight to a team song and it was over.
No other cutscene at all.
Nothing. No normie.
Wow.
Nothing. And that sucks because then, so I played the grand final with the Sharp creators the other day. We won by a point over the Bulldogs and no prezos. I was like,
no.
Surely there's going to be a normie, something, nothing, no cup. So I'm like, that would have been the best thumbnail for all of my stuff and I can't have it. So that makes the custom seasons feel like not worth playing.
That's right, because the joy of being able to see the celebration. I definitely flag that if there's a way, if you can report it on their website so they know it's something to look at, because that's pretty shit.
Dude, it sucks.
You go all the way through, especially the 1-pointer. My God, it should.
But the pre-game one works. So you get Ross and old mate come out and put the cup on, which is fine. But
no post game.
It's only custom seasons though. So like if I play a normal season with the Bulldogs and I get to the grand final, it's fine. But custom seasons, just custom. No good. Yeah.
I think they have had a few more issues with custom seasons. That was actually the reason my game crashed a while ago, because I was putting all the players in for the team and the game just shit itself. I couldn't even get past the pushing A at the first menu to get into the game. It just kept crashing. Really? And they made me remove a file from one of the folders because I had to do some work on the back end. So, yeah, I suppose
because I lost
patching it, but
I started a season and then I lost it. It was corrupt. I had to delete it. And I had to start again. So I don't know if that was when that changed or but that's a big one that bothers me the most at the moment, because all I want to see is us as the team lift up the cup and we can't. 100%. It sucks. Yeah.
We've been absolutely robbed of some great footage in a thumbnail there.
Yeah, I know. And so that's probably my biggest one at the moment that bugs me. Have you had the one where an opposition hits the post and then the game freezes?
I haven't had it freeze, but I had one where I hit the post and then the ball landed in the field of play and my forward pocket picked it up, kicked a goal, and I got a 7-point play from it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That's been 100% fixed now because I haven't seen it happen since. But I've not had it crash from hitting a post. Does it happen frequently, or is it just?
I've had a couple of times. I haven't had one the last few days, but
in custom games again, or
custom games, because I had I was playing a game against the Pies. He was 15 meters out, check side, hit the post, and then 6 minutes to go left in the quarter. We all stood there and just watched me play as Choc's chat running circles because it just got stuck. The camera got stuck on the goal kicking view, whatever it is, behind the player, and then I could run with Chocs straight into the crowd, under the crowd.
I've seen a few people do that. Yeah,
and that's happened 5-6 times.
So that one, that'll be interesting to see if that one fixes on the next patch, because there was quite a few. But at the end of the day, we're over 2 months in. You'd like to think those things would have been sort of ironed out a bit earlier, but
that's my number one question too. Is people saying, "Should I buy it?" I'm like, "Oh, if I say if it's good for me because I'm a streamer and it's fun to find funny bugs or issues, but like if you're just a kid and you want to play it at home and you can't make your own team or do whatever you want and it crashes, it's like." I'm reluctant to say, yeah, dude, go get it.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it depends on what you want to get out of it. Like, it's definitely in a playable state, and you can definitely have fun playing it. But if you like that really in-depth mode, like for me, in the management mode, you want to be able to train players. So I know their stats do go up and down, and older players do decline, and they get traded, which is good. And you can now finally sign free agents and shit like that. But I've drafted a tall forward at pick like 120, Cade Cockshell, purely because of his name, for no other reason.
Great name. Yeah,
the puns just write themselves. So,
yeah.
and he is shit house. He's about 68 overall, and as a key forward, he doesn't even put his hands up to market. But I'm like, that's the kind of opportunity you want to be able to train specific stats so you can make him a play that you can actually use and be beneficial. So and I think that was kind of what was alluded to, that it would be something we could do. So we're just waiting for that to come in. But yeah, I reckon if people haven't purchased it yet, I'm more inclined to say wait a couple of weeks, because you want all consoles to be on the same patch for crossplay. Online needs to be, it's nowhere near offline mode, unfortunately. And Pro Team, hopefully, I mean, I was hoping it was going to be out mid-July, but we're at the 4th now, and that's going to get its own, I suppose, video and showcase airtime, I believe, but we've seen or heard nothing yet.
That's probably one of the most disappointing parts of it. Could you imagine like FIFA putting out a game being like, you can now do this mode? Oh, hang on. You're going to have to wait another 3 months. What? No one's going to buy the game if that's the case.
No, and I think for me, it's been the lack of communication. Like, keeping people in the dark about stuff has been a bit of a downfall for them, but hopefully they can get on top of that soon. What do you think of the stats list when the player set shots come up? We've got Sarge here, reckons they're quite ridiculous, and it annoys him how lengthy all the stats are when your players having shots.
I know what they've tried to do. Like, they've tried to make it like the old games. I don't hate it, but at the same time, like, some of them are kind of unnecessary. I just used to like the one in like AFL Live 2004 where it was just your game stats. I don't really care about season stats because I'm going to look at them after the game anyway.
Yeah.
So if I'm playing a game against you, I want to know how many marks does Caden McDonald take, how many disposals has he had, how many goals has he had, maybe throw in how many tackles. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I don't need season disposals, season tackles, all that. I'm going to look at that after the game anyway. So show me what he's on right now so that I know.
What about, a few people have said they would like to see fantasy points added into that stat line as well?
Yeah, if you can do it. Yeah, I mean, surely it wouldn't be hard. It's maths, right? So put it all in the machine and pop out the fantasy points. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly right.
If the Marmalade boys can do it on a Saturday Arvo, surely these boys can chuck them in there.
they look awesome. They put up all your stats. They look
so good. And I forgot they did that. And I saw the photo myself and I was like, that's wild. It's like, really? I had 8 kicks? I didn't know that.
The level the extent they go to is crazy. They are
unreal.
Very, very good.
The attention to they're very, very good. And very, very nice blokes, which is nice too.
Yeah,
unreal.
So, well, hopefully we'll have them on in a few weeks' time. So they've said they're keen to come on. So we'll try and get that organised in the background.
Dude, they will. They're worth every second. They love it. They're awesome.
Yeah, very good. I think there's one more follow-up question from Sarge. Are the goal-kicking leaders and disposal leaders in management career also bugged for you guys?
I haven't played.
To be totally honest, I don't look at the stats. I don't really go through and look at them. But
I do. That's the other thing too, is I keep equating it back to AFL 2004, but like you go back to that game and I know who's leading the Coleman after every game. You know what I mean? Like you finish, I don't know if you played it much, but after every game you'd come back, you'd have the Coleman board set up, you press up, you could get out of it straight away, or you press R1, you can see who's leading disposals for the season, R1, who's leading everything else, tackles, hit outs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the Brownlow votes as well. So you can see who won the Brownlow at the end of the year. That's in AFL 2004, but we don't have a Brownlow winner in this game right now. It's weird.
Yeah.
Though I know of in a custom mode season anyway, from that perspective.
Not in custom. In management there is. You can go through at the end of the year and it shows you all Australian, Brownlow, Coleman. I think they were looking to add a bit more to that space in terms of like a proper cutscene, I guess, for those type of awards, which I think makes sense. Like it's a bit dull just hitting R1 scrolling through all these, big key awards. So hopefully we see some more updates soon. But
fingers crossed. Surely there'll be a few more.
Yeah. But right, I think that'll wrap it up for tonight. So Sharpy, thanks so much, mate, for jumping on tonight. Really appreciate it. Absolute pleasure to chat all things content and footy and sport and everything else. Hope everyone enjoyed listening to that.
Dude, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to come on, and yeah, I'll come back anytime you want me. I love it. Thank you.
No worries at all. And yeah, always keen to work on whatever else in the background just to keep putting out content for everyone, because it's a fun space to be in. And like I said, everyone who's following what we do enjoys it, and it's enjoyable to deliver what we can.
And it's just a fun community too. Like, that was the thing, putting out the team, was just the fact that people got back to me and were like, "Oh, I've seen," like, the one of the coolest things was Bev Show being like, "Oh, dude, I've seen your streams." And I was just like, I love the Bev Show. Like, I love how, like, he's such a nuffy, because I am too. And that's like the fact that he's seen my stuff as well. It's just like, wow, that's unreal. And like, we all just kind of get around each other. That's the thing I like the most about it is,
exactly.
I guess it's because we're Aussies and that's what we kind of do. Like, I don't know if that's what it's like around the world elsewhere, but I feel like that's something we do well, is we get around each other, and we, if we need a hand, we give each other a hand. It's awesome.
That's it. We just support each other. He actually commented on the post of mine as well, and I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, fuck, he's taking the time to comment on, well, I can't remember what video it was, but yeah, he's very funny. I like his videos.
It's when people do stuff they don't have to, that makes you love them even more, which is unreal.
Yeah, exactly right. So, for any of the Pink Panda crew here, if you haven't already, make sure you get around Sharpy socials. So they've all been scrolling across the screen the whole time at the bottom. You got Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you get around him, support him, and make sure you watch the creators team in action, because we are superstars. That centre half back, geez, you can be a bit of a liability sometimes, but no, it's all good fun. So thanks again, mate, for jumping on tonight. Appreciate it, and we will no doubt chat soon in the future.
Absolutely, dude. We'll do one in person soon too. I appreciate you having me on. It's awesome.
No dramas, mate. Sounds good. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, everybody.